a huge amount of concern and criticism has been levelled at the vaccine rollout programme this morning by both doctors and TDs. Can you firstly give us a kind of an overview of where things stand currently?
It's my Lord, that's a shock in the girl. Good morning.
Nice
I think if we stand back from it all where we're at right now, I mean, first of all, to make the point, because I think it is getting missed, we're still meeting. Every week we get in 99.6% of our vaccines been administered in the week. Right now, thankfully, where we stand today, we've now got to some of the most vulnerable groups, long-term care facilities, nursing homes completed, most healthcare workers completed by the end of next week. And now, as we're in the over 70s and over 85s, 70% of the 85-year-olds completed by last weekend, the vast majority being completed by the end of this weekend. So, getting to most vulnerable groups, and very positively, the benefits that we're seeing both in terms of transmission levels, mortality, sickness are really positive. So, that's the really positive position where we are. Two big issues, I suppose, as of this week. One is the delivery issues from AstraZeneca, which is causing us huge frustration, angst. They are committing they'll meet their quarterly deliverables tools of about 370,000, but what we have seen over the last week, this week and into next week are two significant deliveries of schedule has been committed and not meeting the full schedule that we're expecting them to meet. So very late notice of it. They're saying they'll make it up over the following couple of weeks. But a huge frustration for us because I know it's projected as we're missing our targets. The reality is AstraZeneca are missing their commitments to us on delivery. We're delivering everything we get every week.
I hear what you're saying, but I'm just reading page 2 of the Irish Times this morning. Vaccine targets to fall short by 25,000, and that's over the past 2 weeks. So I know what you're saying, and I don't believe that it is all down to some kind of mismanagement, but there is significant concern. What can be done? I mean, AstraZeneca, the forecast has changed 3 times in a week what they will be giving us, but also there are things around cold chain difficulties with the mRNA vaccines, the Pfizer vaccines, the logistics, there's an issue. And we've seen during the week as well this report that more vaccines are given on certain days than on others. I think it is understandable that people are concerned.
Yeah, sorry, I would specifically like to address that issue. If you take the GP vaccination programme that's ongoing, which is our biggest one right now, and we're aiming to have the over 85s completed by the end of this week. First 2 weeks, 95% all completed, well on target, delivered. This week we have encountered significant issues, and it has frustrated GPs, and particularly frustrated some of the over 85s whose schedules have been either cancelled or delayed. So yes, we did meet significant issues from our own perspective about committing to expected deliveries for a smaller number of GPs. We just want to put in that context. So about 65 GP practices next week, which are the smaller GP practices who couldn't be in a position to buddy up, are rescheduled into next week. Now that's about 850 of the 72,500 patients, if you like, that will be vaccinated next week. So certainly some supplies didn't meet their expectations. Some supplies didn't meet on the day they expected it. It was a marginal number in the total, but I fully acknowledge and fully accept we have put extra supports in for GP, an extra contact centre, an extra weekly communications. We know we've to strengthen some issues that have emerged this week.
Okay. And what do you say, Paul, to the accusations of poor communications? GPs say that they don't know what is happening, that they're told that they're getting a supply on Tuesday, then they're told on Monday it's not coming, and then it actually arrives, or that they're told it's coming 2 days later, and that there's mixed messages and a lack of information being given. Is it that the HSE is giving all the information that they have and worryingly they don't have it themselves, or has there been a failure in communication?
No, but I will take it on the round. If you take the first week, we set out to do 13,000. We did 14,000 vaccinations with 255 practices. Second week, we set out to do, working with 500 practices, we did 54,000. So, vast majority of practice, it has worked. This week we'll do 542 practices and we'll practically meet the 72,500. But I fully acknowledge in a number of practices across the country exactly what you have said has happened. And yes, we have to strengthen our communications. We're putting in a dedicated line for GPs to contact us. We're putting in resource managers who work directly. It's
reported in the papers there's 10 people managing that line for 1,300 practices. That's still going to create, I suppose, a black hole of communication, surely?
No, but I think in essence it's not about number 10. It's about how we organise the schedule, which again has worked in the vast majority of cases. I think what we've put in place, Ciara, I don't know, you're a medic, you're familiar with this one. The complexity of this Pfizer, the mRNA vaccine and the Moderna that we're delivering to GPs is more complex. And there's three kinds of ways that the GP has been working with us doing it, which is large vaccination centres working really well, larger GP practice working really well, budding up really well. We have run into difficulties with it, smaller practices. Now, I do acknowledge some of the bigger ones as well. But yes, we have to strengthen a few issues. But overall, and as we head into the total over 70s, we're making significant progress, and we've also started the 80 to 84s this week.
Which is all for the good, and I know that there is hope in all of this.